Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report. Today is going to be my Grey Knights. They've been sitting on a shelf for a while. I got kind of intrigued and in love with my Drukhari for a bit. Had fun figuring out lists and running them. And I decided it's time to get these boys back out. The last time they came out, it was against Harlequins, and that was great. But I'd played them against the Necrons a few times before that, and it was not great. But it did teach me a couple things for the list building and hearing some podcasts and tips and things. You've got to bring things that can theoretically kill a squad of warriors in one go. Otherwise, the warriors for the Necrons just keep coming back and coming back. So here's what I've come up with. Running 2 patrols. So we have the double patrol. I will talk you through it real quick. I actually have a total of 3 troop choices. So the troops are over here. We've got 1 bare bones strike squad, rocking the old metal minis for this one, all halberds and storm bolters, and they have astral aim. Behind them, we have 2 squads of terminators. The one on the left is all halberds and a psi cannon, and the one on the right is going to be all, well, not all. They are 3 with falchions, 1 halberd, and the Justicar has the Nemesis warding stave, so slightly better save in combat. That's what the warding stave does. Then we've got our HQs, and what we have is a Grandmaster Dread Knight. He is first to the fray, warlord trait. He has the silencer and the psi cannon. That is my favorite loadout with him. And the sword, even though it's only d6, not only, but it's d6 damage on the sword, it still tends to do enough work hitting on 2s and still re-rolling 1s until we get a new book, so that's nice. Then we have the other 4 characters here. So we have the Apothecary in the back. The Apothecary has the hammer and Cuirass of Sacrifice. He's going to have Sanctuary today. And then on the left, I have, this is actually a Librarian. He gets played as a lot of different things from different games, but today's a Librarian, Thunderhammer, and Stormbolter. He's going to know Warp Shaping and Imperium Domination, and he has the Sanctic Shard to reroll a failed test. Then we have Grandmaster Voldis. He does what he does. He has Armored Resilience. I want to say he has Ethereal Manipulation and Inner Fire. I haven't really put him in the front in a while, so today give him Inner Fire, see if he can't get in and mess some people up. And then on the right, I'm actually bringing Brother Captain Stern. Clearly not Brother Captain Stern's model. It's a cool Brother Captain type model, so I'm using it for that. I did actually just receive an actual Stern model, the old metal one, but I haven't had a chance to paint him up. I've been playing too many games this week, and it's a good thing. So there's that. And he has, I think what I decided to go with for him was Purge Soul, just because it's targetable, even if it's only a 12-inch. Against most characters, probably isn't going to matter a whole lot. But there's a chance, and if it's targetable, I might be able to take out a vehicle or something with it. Who knows when you get right down to it. But it's kind of fun. We'll see how it plays out. May or may not be any good. Then we go to the Paladin Bomb. So I am running the 10 Paladins. I know there's a lot of chatter, a lot of debates between whether you should run Terminators or Paladins, or leave Paladins at home because they're so expensive. This unit is 535 points, I think, so that's really pricey. However, they have consistently done the business for me. So this particular unit, the way I kit them out is I have 2 with the warding staves for the good or the better invul in combat. The Justicar has the hammer, so he still hits on 3s. Instead of 2s, but it's pretty tasty. Then you give him Fury of the Proven, and then he's hitting on 2s again. Then I have 3 with falchions, and the rest have halberds. So when they get in, they can do a lot of work. Plus, in the back row, I have 4 guys with the silencers, because you can have 4 heavy weapons in a squad of 10. And the 4 silencers is just, they're essentially a Daka. I don't know, what do you want to call it? Just, they put the work in when they shoot. So there's ways to get them to hit better. Ethereal Manipulation, reroll all wounds in half distance. So it's a lot of fun to just put that spell on them, pop them up across the board 9 inches away from someone with Gate of Infinity, which is what my 2 Terminator squads have, and then they just shoot the ever-living bejeebers out of whatever's around. Usually does a lot of work. And then finally, this is something I've been playing with in the last couple of games, and it's been pretty solid. I don't have all the guys modeled correctly yet. The weapons are correct. This is a 10-man Interceptor Squad. So with the 10-man Interceptor, you get the free teleport shunt once per game. You can do it again every turn for a CP with a stratagem. Can be helpful. I give them Vortex of Doom because one of my favoriteest things is to just shunt them into somebody's castle. Vortex of Doom, pay the CP for the extra dice to roll, so you're rolling 3d6 and hoping for that tasty 11 or even a 12. I'll take a 12 with them. It's just really, really cool if you can get it to go off. And I mean, it's, you know, it goes off on an 8, which you need a 7 with the Grey Knights to do that. So it's not the most unreliable spell, maybe not as good as a Smite, but again, put it near a castle and it just tends to always do something. I've taken out many castles, or at least wounded many castles with those guys, just using their teleport shunt, vortex, and then I'm running 10 of them now. I took out my silencers, so they're just straight storm bolters, and the reason for that is I can use them, give the shooting tide, so your psi weapons have the +1 strength and damage, so they become 2 damage storm bolters and strength 5, and then you pay the 2 CP, so you get the strength 6 and the -1 AP. So strength 6, -1 AP and 2 damage storm bolters, and then, you know, if you're in range to rapid fire, which if you shunted correctly you would be, and I have a unit that has astral aim, so I can in theory make that where they don't even have to be seen. The only thing is if I'm out of line of sight, then they're not going to be doing Vortex of Doom. But I mean, obviously there's ways to make both things work really well. So there you have it. This list, it came out to like 1997, I think, 1998, somewhere in there. It was just enough to not be able to add anything, just enough to not be able to take anything away. We'll see what happens. Be playing against an unknown army. It's on the way here. I will have that recorded once it arrives, and we'll be back to get this game kicked off. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. My brother-in-law Andy has arrived, and he did bring the Ultramarines. He also has a nasty Death Guard army, but he's kind of frustrated playing them at the moment because all their rules are changing and not changing, and everything's weird. So I get to face off against this mess. He is running a patrol and Supreme Command detachment because there's Gilliman, so that'll be exciting. You will also see in the characters over here, they got the Super Apothecary. He paid for the points to upgrade him. And yes, that is a Marnius Calgar back there. So we're going to have Calgar, Vitrix Guard, Tigurius is his name, right? So this is an unpleasant mix of characters, in my opinion. Then we've got the Outriders, we've got a Redemptor, we've got over here, these are the Assault Intercessors, yes. Okay, Repulsor, everybody knows what he does. You've got the Eradicators, I know what they do, and then over here we've got our last 2 troops. So these are Intercessors, right? Just the regular ones. The guys with the red shoulders have the grenade launchers, so there's 1 in each squad. And then with his extra points, he got fancy and just threw a 6th guy into this squad, because why not? I don't want anything else that was worth the time or the points to upgrade. So here we have it. I honestly have no idea how this might play out, but I'm jealous of all of his extra wounds and his Apothecary bringing stuff back. I would really like that. My Apothecary is going to run around and heal like a wound a turn, and feel sad. So we will be back. Oh, I did roll off while Andy was on his way over here, so I'll show you the board and the mission while we get ready. I suppose actually we can do a roll off for first turn here too. So we rolled up. It's sweep and clear. So this one is the kind of funny, you get your table quarters for deployment. So that's one deployment zone. This is the other deployment zone over here. We're playing on this is again an Imperial colonial world, I guess. The 5 objectives, you have 1 dead center, then you have 1 in each quarter. So here, there's 1 behind the repulsor, there's 1 back there behind our rock tree farm forest, and then 1 more on this corner. So that is how it goes. It is one where you have to hold 1 for 5, hold 2 for 10, and then hold more than your opponent for the full 15. So we're going to roll off, pick deployment zones, we'll do our secondaries and all that jazz. You'll see that on the screen in a minute, and then we'll be back. So let's roll off. Go ahead, I'll let you roll first. Being the guest of honor, it is a 4. I have rolled a 2. So you get to choose your deployment zone, and then we'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, the forces have been deployed. For the Grey Knights, I have an Apothecary and Terminator Squad in Deep Strike. Everybody else is out and about. So there's a Terminator Squad here with the Librarian here with the Thunderhammer in the back. We've got a Strike Squad. They're almost all in the building. However, their bases are a little too big, so they're in a bunker. Might keep them alive a little longer, hopefully. Interceptor Squad back here. The barricades, these rocks count as barricades essentially, so light cover. Paladin Bomb, Voldis, and Mr. Brother Captain of the Stern there. And then Dread Knight, right up at the front. So we both took the direct assault mission specific secondary. So we're both going to be fighting over the central objective, which will be entertaining. And to meet my deployment, the Ultramarines have just massed right up at the front, and it's going to be ugly and awful. Yeah, that's it. There's the 6 men inside that building, Outriders, 5 men in the back, Assault Intercessors in the middle, Gilliman's right up in the front, Vitrix, Apothecary, Tigurius back there. Martius is actually in the back, and the Repulsor. Wow, the Repulsor. So this is gonna be crazy. So for the secondary, if you don't know, for the mission one, we're both wanting to have the central one for 3 points, and if you can hold the center one and your opponents, you get 5. And it scores at the end of your turn, so both of us taking it means, in theory, both of us can score it every turn until we run out of bodies, which I think will happen before anybody scores it every turn. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So we'll roll off for turn 1. Woohoo! This is the roll off that matters the most. So Andy is gonna bust out the Ultramarine dice, and we're gonna see what has happened here. So go ahead, roll away. Oh, is that a 1? That's a 1. That's good. Oh, that's a 6. That's even better. The Grey Knights love to go first because we get our buffs and our protection spells up, and that keeps us alive just a tiny bit longer. So that's what we're going to do. We'll be back after Grey Knights turn 1. All right, folks, the end of the Grey Knights turn 1. Strike Squad stayed still. Terminators, Librarian stayed still, did what they do. They cast everything. The Psychic phase was good for us. Over here, we have Sanctuary. We have Astral Aim. We have Hammerhand. I was very sad. These guys just, I even spent the command point for Fury of the Proven. They didn't do a lot. They shot into the Bike Squad over here and did nothing. They saved everything. They shot the Stormbolters at the Vitrix just to see if I could get rid of some, and they took a wound off. And then we did a smite into the Vitrix and took another 2. So, and then he shrugged 1. Oh, did you even try to shrug the Stormbolter round that went in? Do you remember? I don't remember.
So that one?
Yeah, on the
pretty
Vitrix.
sure I did.
Okay.
I think I did shrug one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm figuring you did because it barely did.
It was going to be 2.
Correct, yeah. So didn't really do anything from them. I was a little underwhelmed. Captain Stern did get mental interrogation to go off. Back here, the Grandmaster Dread Knight killed 2 bikes, so he at least did a thing. Then I used the once per game without the stratagem shunt. So the Interceptors came over. Gate of Infinity, Drago. No, not Drago. I don't have Drago. Voldis. He put Armored Resilience on himself. And then we used Empiric Surge for the +1 casting. So we got a few different things off. We did some smite work on Calgar, and then we killed Calgar. So in the shooting phase, we were able to get rid of Calgar. So that was helpful. I spent a lot of command points. I went for the Psybolt, I went for the other, so I boosted Silencers, I boosted Stormbolters, but it paid off back here to get Calgar out of the way. And then I went into my charge phase, failed all my charges over here, was disappointed. The Interceptors were really close. They were an inch out, or less than an inch out, but however that works, I don't remember. We were out. I said it wrong. The Grandmaster Dread Knight, he made his charge into the Vitrix Guard, but my desire was to get him over here to body block So I had to declare Gilliman also to do that, which we'd have needed a 10 to come around the corner and get into both units. And I rolled a 9 and I re-rolled it into a 6 because he has first to the fray warlord trait. So I was kind of sad. I would have gotten into the Vitrix Guard and then he could have heroically intervened, but I really wanted the movement to get around and try to just block off that line to get up to there. So I did not score direct assault, which is making me a little sad. And that is it. So I did get line breaker for 4 and I got mental interrogation for 3. And that's really the end of my turn. So we'll be back after the Ultramarines and we'll see how we fare against this storm of incoming damage. Ultramarines turn 1 is over. It was very interesting. I did lose Voldis back here, and what is that? What is that? It's 1 Interceptor. He passed the attrition. I'm so proud of him. That's going to actually help me a lot because of being able to score line breaker. If he had died and Voldis died, that would have been a bit of an issue for me. It would have been a lot harder to finish out, or at least to even score line breaker. Over here, a lot of shooting went into Voldis, so he kind of served a purpose over there. A lot of shooting went into the Dread Knight, got charged by the Redemptor. He died, spent the command point to hit him back, and he dropped him to 3 wounds, but he's not dead. So that was pretty cool. And the Duty Eternal is what kept him alive, because without that, he would have been exactly dead. So it was cute. Redemptor used his cool new Hunter Slayer missile, put 3 wounds on Stern.
Repulsor.
Repulsor, yes, with the Hunter Slayer missile. Paladins, we lost 1 and 1 guy took a wound. So that could have been a lot worse actually, because they did take quite a few shots from the rest of the guys. But in reality, I think all your intercessors and some of your assault intercessors and your bikes were the ones shooting into my Interceptor Squad. So, I mean, they really weathered the storm for a good while. And then I think it was the Redemptor that did all the work on that Interceptor Squad. And then they failed morale because the Redemptor pumped in a bunch of onslaughts and stormbolters and whatever else the Redemptors get. So playing it kind of safe. And of course, the Apothecary. Yes, I did kill 2 of the 3 bikes. He didn't care. He brought it back. I don't know how the Apothecary fixes the bike motors, but he does. It's really cool. Yeah, and he healed up the Vitrix Guard who was wounded. So it was pretty. It's fun to see how. I mean, yeah, it makes me jealous because I'm Grey Knights, but it's really cool to see how the army works, and I'm getting to see some of these strats. Andy was very close to trying out an orbital bombardment, just to make me move and shuffle, but he decided not to. But it was close. It would have been interesting to see if he'd done it. So we'll see. He scored 6 points on Assassinate, killing 2 of my characters, but neither of us scored anything else, I don't think. Because we're trying to be kind of safe. So this turn, that'll probably change a bit. But yeah, I don't get to reroll any failed charges this turn, so that could make things a little slower. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back. Grey Knight's turn 2 is coming up. Grey Knight's turn 2 has finished. It was kind of a little disappointing in some regards. So my Terminator Squad failed Gate of Infinity. I was going to move my Librarian and be super cheeky with him, but he didn't, so it is what it is. Paladins moved around. They are within 3 of the center objectives, so I do get the 3 points on that for direct assault. I cast a bunch of buffing spells, and what I wanted to do with them was charge the Redemptor and then block off that objective and not tangle with Gulliman yet. I don't know. It might have been the wrong decision. I failed to charge either way, and I think I failed it going into Gulliman as well if I'd chosen him. So I think it probably didn't matter. I did come over here and charge the Redemptor with Stern, who hit everything in his first round of attacks and then failed to wound with everything. And then the Redemptor killed him. And so I spent the command point and he fought back, and he did a whole wound. And it rolled a 2, which was reduced to 1. So I got 1 wound off the Redemptor out of Stern, and I really had expected him to possibly kill the Redemptor. Maybe I was being foolish. I don't know. But it is what it is. Then back here, we had our little Interceptor cast a Vortex of Doom, did a single wound on them. It did do 3 on Tigurius, so that was nice. And then I spent a command point I can't remember what it's called. Dynamic insertion. So my Terminators came down holding the objective. I had really hoped that the shooting and psychic phase would have killed a few more of these guys, and then I could have held the objective. But for now, I think it's probably still Andy's. I haven't measured yet. I think I only have 3 in range though. So, and he still has 4. So it is what it is. Mistakes were made. Dice were rolled. Really, is what happened. That's it. So that's the end of my turn. So I'll score for line breaker again. We'll get 3 for direct assault for that central objective, and then we're gonna have to see if I can survive what comes next. If I do, it'll be good. If I don't, then the game will close a little faster. So we'll be back after Ultramarines turn 2. All right, the Ultramarines turn 2 is finally ended here. I say finally. It was a lot of carnage as to be expected. Over here we had the big smackdown in the middle. So Guilliman charged and the bikers charged. During the shooting phase though, I lost like 4 paladins or 5. I'm not sure how many, but it was a bunch. And then in combat, Guilliman just went through. Oh, I don't know. He got 4 wounds through on my... so my first guy with the falchions, he failed to save right away. And then I used my staves because with Sanctuary and the stave, they were on a 3-up invul. And I tanked the rest of the wounds on the 2 guys with falchions. But in the long run, it killed all but 2 guys. Then the bikers attacked. 1 guy hurt the apothecary. The paladins took no damage from them. My Paragon, my sergeant, if you will, with a hammer swung into Guilliman. He got 2 wounds through. He failed 1 wound, but the Ultramarines sitting here with like 13 command points still. So he just went ahead and re-rolled it and saved it. So no damage on Guilliman. So that puts me in kind of an interesting spot. Given that we both took the direct assault, it's kind of tricky. I mean, I knew it was coming. I'd hoped that having them buffed up with the saves with Sanctuary and all that would help, but we rolled pretty poorly during the shooting phase. And they were the only things that could be targeted, so I mean, that kind of was going to happen. And then also, I regret using some command points to give the boosted ammunitions to the Paladin squad early on because it didn't do anything, but I didn't know that. So if it had worked right, those bikes would not be there. So this would be a very different combat. So it is what it is. Back here, those guys all got deleted. There's a lot of shooting. Eradicators, 2 squads of Intercessors, and it's gonna happen. So that's not a huge surprise to me, but it's still, it's a thing. Repulsor came over. This Repulsor's kind of been a bit of an issue. I haven't had the resources to put into it, so I haven't done anything to it yet. So I'm gonna have to figure something out about that. Right now, the score it's interesting. It's 32-33. So I'm down by 1 point at the moment. I've still got a few things on the board. Still have some plays that can be made. I'm gonna need like practically perfect turns for the next 3 turns of the game to be able to do anything, which is gonna be hard to do. But we'll see. There could be some shenanigans up our sleeves. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. So we'll come back after Grey Knight's turn 3. So the turn has ended for the Grey Knights. My Paladins got deleted. What I've been trying to do for 2 turns now is use Gate of Infinity on this Librarian, and this time the spell went off on an 8, no less, and Mr. Tigurius rolled a straight up 12, which with his +1 became a 13. Amazing and very sad. So then I used Astral Aim from the Strike Squad into the Terminators so they could shoot. Strike Squad, as it turned out, was out of range to shoot anything because other stuff was in combat and other things were characters, and Vitrix Guard are still alive but more than 24 inches away. So that's a shame, but oh well. I did use the regained a CP for the turn, cast the spell to gain another one. So I used my 2 CP strat to fight on death. This was just what makes me want to cry about this turn. My Apothecary had all 5 hits go through and rolled all 5 1s and 2s. no wounds on the bikes. And then the paladins did the same thing. Well, no, one went through on the hammer, but the halberd whiffed completely, and the hammer. Did you save one, or did I only get one through? You saved one.
With
and
invul,
yeah, with his invul because of the spell from Tigurius. So it's kind of wild. It was like there was a lot of bodies there that could do work, and they did nothing. So I didn't even kill a bite, just wounded one. So it is what it is, you know. So at this point, my lead is going to disappear because he'll be able to score more than me for primary in his turn. He'll get 10 for primary. I only got 5. And he'll be set up pretty much to kick my teeth in after this turn. So we'll see. I mean, if his Tigurius wasn't being the man and stopping some of my psychic things, I would have a few more things happening right now, and I'd have a little bit of a chance. I did get mental interrogation for 3 turns in a row, so that's something. I'm not sure I'm going to get it after this turn because the Apothecary will most likely be dead. Oh, my Terminator squad did kill the Redemptor. That was a positive. That was nice. That was the only thing they could really shoot at, too. They could have shot the Batrep guard, I think, as well, but the Redemptor just had a wound, so he actually died to 2 Stormbolter rounds. That was pretty fun for me. Yeah, so that's it. That's the end of my turn. We'll be back after Ultramarines, and it is only turn 3. And may I just put in right here that Guilliman is still a force to be reckoned with. I know people like Calgar a lot, and he's expensive for Guilliman, but I mean, rerolling everything for Imperium, or ones for Imperium units, rerolling everything for core, right? And then getting the lieutenant reroll ones to wound on things that are core. I mean, it's been a huge factor in this game. It really has been big. And so don't sleep on Guilliman. He's worth it. And I know you can make lists that work, you know, with Calgar, and you leave Guilliman at home and bring other stuff, but he's been as much of a threat as he was, you know, 8th edition. It's slightly toned down.
Or you bring both.
Or you bring both, which is what he did, and I got super lucky, I think, in taking out Calgar. But yeah, it's rough. So here we go. We'll be back after Ultramarines turn 3. Okay, ladies and gents, Ultramarines turn 3 is over. My Apothecary is dead. Are we surprised? No, we are not. Guilliman made his charge. I actually saved 3 out of the 6 attacks that went through, and then I had to roll 9 Feel No Pains. It didn't work. Even with the 5-up Cuirass, I only made 1 of the 5. So he was dead like twice over. He had 1 wound. He took a smite. Yes, he did shrug one of the smite mortals. These guys took all the remaining firepower, which was really Guilliman and the Repulsor, and it didn't matter. They were good because of Tide of Shadows for the win and being in a bunker. It was really pretty amazing. Back here, advanced out of cover, obviously going for an objective over there. Now that I think about it, he doesn't even need that objective to continue to score more than me, but that's okay. It's fun to take all the points you can take because it prevents me from scoring free points. So these guys over here, the assault boys, we were laughing because they danced over the barricade, back over the barricade. Now they're going back there, so they've moved around a bit. That's about all there is. Eradicators came out to play, and then we've just got a cluster of chaos and mayhem going here. So, and he shifted both words all together. The Repulsor over here to take this objective. So he's sitting on 3 currently, in range of another one. His direct assault, he got 3 for the center again. And was there anything else? I don't remember. Oh, he got another 3 for assassinate and 4 for oath of moment. So that was a big swing in secondaries this turn. And he started this turn with 10 primary. So he's up by 13 points going into Grey Knight's turn 4. So we're going to continue to attempt to do shenanigans. Some of my options are a bit more limited now than what I had hoped for. So we'll see what we can do. We'll make some magic happen. Probably get denied again by Tigurius. That boy has earned his points, I have to say. He's been casting the 5-up invul bubble. I think I denied it this time, finally. But he's done a lot. Denied a lot of my stuff, and he's gotten some significant powers off that have made a difference in the game. So pretty cool. So we'll be back. Grey Knight's turn 4 coming up. Grey Knight's turn is over. I wish I could say I killed all of them with 5 9 Stormbolters and a side cannon, but I cannot. It's very disappointing. T5 bikes, yeah, proven to be resilient against my storm bolters. Actually, they've been giving me fits all game. I just realized I shot strength 6 -1 AP D3 +1 damage silencers at them in the very first turn and did no wounds. I was rough. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. I did chip some wounds. I killed one bike, which he'll bring back, and wounded that one. Wounded this intercessor in this corner. These guys are fine. I finally did not get denied on a Gate of Infinity. So my librarian took his happy little self over here. He is in range of the objective, so I'm holding it at the moment. He's of course going to move up, probably get a charge on me. He won't need to charge me, but he can take that away from me. But that's okay, and I landed in a spot where I was close enough to Gilliman to get yet another mental interrogation. So that part of it went okay. He still has obviously enough to take and control the rest of the board, but I did score points. So I've got another 8 points out of this turn. I had 5 for primary, 3 for mental interrogation. My other 2 secondaries are going to be moot points now, but I can continue to get some things, and then he will... I don't know if he can finish me in this turn, but it's going to be close. There might still be stuff left at the next turn, but it's not going to be a lot. So we'll be back after Ultramarines turn 4. All right, folks. Ultramarines turn 4 is over. Battle round 4 is over. Thanks to these boys failing a 6-inch charge, there was still a guy left after all the shooting. They had to command reroll their charge, which meant that they made the charge, killed the last strike marine, but Gulliman did not make his charge. He had to go pretty far. He can't go through buildings, being that he has the big stompy monster keyword. Aha. So these Terminators are still here. That's good. They might do a thing. However, it did allow Ultramarines to hold the center and hold mine and get 5 points for the direct assault. Over here, we had these Intercessors come stomping in and swinging to the librarian. Took a wound off of him there. I think he took a wound from shooting, if I remember right, from them earlier. So he's down 2. He hit back and whiffed. It was horrible. He hit with everything and rolled 1s and 2s to wound. I've rolled a lot of 1s and 2s in combat this game. It's kind of sad. So, still sitting there, got his 15 on primary, so he's definitely killing me in the points, but we'll do a quick turn 5 just to see if I can at least slow him down a little bit. But yeah, that's where we sit, where I've got a whole 6 units on the board, models on the board, and he's doing pretty well. So we'll be back after Grey Knights, turn 5. Grey Knights turn 5 is done. The Terminators remembered how to do combat. I'm so proud of them. We barely did wounds on the bikes in the shooting, but then they came in and just mowed them down with their halberds. The first unit of my army today that has done more than 3 wounds in a phase of combat. It's amazing. That's supposed to be something we're good at. So Gulliman's still here. He'll stomp over and probably kill them, but I hope not. That mess in the middle, I didn't try to do anything to. Didn't have range and didn't have line of sight, so it wasn't a point in it. This over here, this librarian, he's making me sad. Granted, it's not his primary duty to be smacked at, but he rolled 3 1s. Would have killed him. I had to command reroll the last one to keep him alive, just to be annoying. I can't even steal a point from him, so it was just kind of like a, false pride to reroll it, I guess, as it made no difference in the game, but he's not dead, so there, that's the thing. But yeah, so he'll just move around a little bit, probably kill a bunch with his shooting, and then charge whatever's left with Gulliman, and that'll be the end of the game. But it's been pretty entertaining. He's going to get his full 15 for primary, so it's already like 91 to 56, I think, just on primaries. But he should be able to finish off with a few more secondaries, so he'll get close to a 100-point game. So we'll play it out, see how it works for him, and then we'll be back at the end of Ultramarines turn 5. Well, folks, he's done it. I might have had some numbers wrong in my head earlier. It is a 100-point game, although Andy's going to be particular enough to say it's only a 90-point game because his Assault Intercessors only have one color and a base coat on them. Oh, and his Eradicators too, so I'll give that to him. I'll take it. It was 90-56. Huzzah! But really, with the difference between paint or not paint, that's all it is. So Gulliman, actually the Terminators held on through all the shooting to survive to Gulliman charging. There were 2 left. He obliterated them. I think he would have killed 4 Terminators with what I failed to save. So he really got them. This right here, it kind of made me sad. So Tigurius is down to 2 wounds. He passed his smite, but it was low, so he chose to re-roll it because he has this crazy hood, so he can re-roll for grins and giggles to make his psychic test better. He's a mighty fine model. And he super smited on 12s. So he perils, and I could not deny it. Technically, my Librarian can. With his relic, I could have denied it, but I didn't. So he did, I think it only ended up being 1 mortal wound on my Terminators. He took 3 for himself.
Well, 1 on.
And then he used his leadership. Well, I don't know what that's called, but it's like he just beats the leadership, which it was crazy. So I'm leadership 9. He's leadership 10. If he ties me in the roll off, because you roll a d6, then I take a mortal wound. I only had 1 wound left. I rolled a 6. He rolled a 5. With Ultramarines shenanigans, he was leadership 10. I was leadership 9. So therefore we tied. Therefore I died. It made me sad. My psychic might tried its best. So Tigurius, I don't know if he qualifies as MVP for the game, but his psychic stuff was amazing. He did a lot of work this game. It was really fun. And then, of course, Direct Assault, they got that. Oath of Moments maxed out, Direct Assault maxed out, and Killing the Librarian maxed out for Assassinate. So he played a super solid game. We were talking about it off camera a little bit ago, and of all the missions in the Grand Tournament Pack, this is probably the #1 mission for the Ultramarines. And if I'd been using my brain, I would not have taken Direct Assault as a secondary because, there's no point charging Gulliman and all the Ultramarines when they've got all kinds of buffs. And I mean, it's the game they want to play. They can move up slow and steady and just kill everything. If I was smart, I would have taken Engage on all fronts just to be able to move them out. If you can break up the Ultramarines forces, in the past that's proven successful. And I almost took Engage on all fronts, and then I decided to do Line Breaker, and that broke my back. I did score it twice, so I got 8 points out of it. And I did max out my Mental Interrogation secondary, so that was good. It wasn't like I wasted it. The only one I really didn't do at all was Direct Assault. I scored it like 1 time. Very good game, sir. I enjoyed it a lot. It's funny, the last time I played Andy was, I think, his first game of 9th, and I was running my Drakari, and our speed and mobility just ripped up the Ultramarines, and it was pretty rough. So he had to think. He tweaked this list, and this list is super solid. Getting Calgar in the first turn for me was big. It didn't impact this game because you didn't need to worry about spreading your forces. But he runs Calgar and Gulliman, so he can literally have 2 armies that run off and they get their bubbles, their rerolls, chapter master buffs, things like that, which is pretty clutch. Didn't matter again in this game, but that's a good setup for an Ultramarines list. Something to think about. Pretty tasty. So thank you, sir. Do you have an MVP unit in your opinion?
Probably the Apothecary.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that. I did kill...
Lots of bikes.
I think I killed 3 bikes, and they didn't die until the very last turn. Yeah, that's true. I think it's hard to ignore the Apothecaries. Gulliman actually did some work, too. If it wasn't for Gulliman, I would have had a few more, maybe at least 1 more turn, maybe 2 with the Paladins, which could have been a bit of a problem. Of course, if they killed everything they got to touch, then they would have been shot to death. So I don't know, but yeah, Gulliman was pretty monstrous too. And Tigurius, I mean, we're kind of joking, kind of not. He did cast the 5-up invul save. Is that what that power does? Yeah, it's an aura, and that actually helped. I mean, he sat in the center of all his stuff and kept boosting them, buffing them, and then denying a lot of my powers, which is kind of Rude. I'm a Grey Knight. You shouldn't deny my powers. But he did. So yeah, very good game. Super fun. For me, I was disappointed. My poor Grey Knights whiffed in combat over and over and over again. And then I chose poorly on one of my secondaries. But, I mean, my Paladins kind of did what they were supposed to do. I think, honestly, my Interceptor Squad, going to the back and killing Calgar would have to be my MVP unit. And they lasted a whole turn of shooting with one boy left. So, yeah, there you have it. It was a fun game. Appreciate you coming over and playing this one out. And thanks for watching Kitchen Table Wargaming. We'll catch you on the next one.